Growing up, the only RPGs I really ever cared about were Final Fantasy and Pokemon. Occasionally, friends would tell me about an RPG named Phantasy Star, but I was too hyped on the next Nintendo exclusive to care. Now the series has come to mobile devices with Idola Phantasy Star Saga, and I have no excuses not to play it. However, I can't say it's tempted me to play the main series, even with some of its more unique elements.
身も心も癒します。サマーフレッツ。
Even if the name has idol in it, this isn't a Love Live game. Instead, Idola Phantasy Star Saga follows the story of Yuli, a sailor who finds himself in the middle of an Idola attack. Think mythical monster summons, but they're based off the zodiac signs. The Aries Knights, a mercenary group that hires people of both law and chaos, save and recruit Yuli to their organization. They travel the world keeping rogue idolas under control and help those who need it. In standard gacha RPG affair, the story isn't anything special. There doesn't seem to be many heavy stakes to make the narrative gripping aside from the occasional law character who ends up being evil. Still, I did get a kick out of learning more about the characters through side stories such as why they are of law or chaos orders. Visually, the 2D art of each character looks great. They've kept a nice mixture of fantasy and space aesthetic that I've seen in other Phantasy Star titles. In battle, characters take on these odd ragdoll-like movements that definitely look strange, but I can't say that I hated it. Idola Phantasy Star Saga has some interesting gameplay elements to help flesh out the standard RPG experience. Instead of 4 or 5 characters brought onto the field, the team is separated into law and chaos teams. Story-wise, they cannot fight alongside each other as it repels moral identities, causing their abilities not to work. So characters can only be paired alongside their order, except neutral characters like Yuli. Law and chaos teams can be switched by using a reverse rush attack, causing the team on the sidelines to jump in and attack all opponents. There were times where I felt like my law team wasn't as useful as my chaos team simply because I had an attack buffer on my chaos group. To be honest, I re-rolled about 20 times before I obtained a proper character on my law and chaos team. Each character has a basic attack and 2 abilities. After selecting your abilities, the battle begins. Pretty standard stuff. An elemental meter fills up under each character, which is used to execute a character's ultimate attack. There are weapons and soul symbols that can be equipped, but in order to switch up the gameplay, these soul symbols have certain requirements in order to be used. Many soul symbols have different variations, so it's best to go through each one and make sure to find out which fits your team and various situations. You can also collect pets called Idola Mags to give the team additional stat buffs and added damage when you switch teams out. There's more than enough content here to sink as much time as you want into the adventure that revolves around story missions, side missions, constant event missions, and even PvP. One of the more unique features is found in the raid systems. Raids involve fighting idolas. The catch is these idolas are created with the fusion of 4 law and 4 order characters from other players. The idolas that come out of it are dependent upon who the lead character in the party is. However, you don't actually take control of the idola, but players can earn rewards depending on how many opponents are driven off while the AI takes care of the fighting, which even works offline. The only time you take control of the idola is during certain boss fights in story mode, which is fun in their own right. PvP is a basic 8v8 RPG battle with some fighting elements I mentioned earlier. Nothing surprisingly unique about it. As always, you need to hope to get some of the stronger units and level them quickly if you want to make a dent in the rankings.
天を見上げて走れ。迷いを捨てるため。マークスターライザー。
Idola Phantasy Star Saga could have been great, but its better early content slowly turns into a standard waifu collector RPG within the first few hours. There's a unique raid system woven in with the Idola themes that make for some fun moments of gameplay, but everything else feels almost too familiar. I wish the developer did more with the Phantasy Star brand instead of simply reusing mechanics that we've seen before. It may still be worth it in the end though, because the gacha rate for 5-star characters seems to be really high, or I've just been insanely lucky. Noisy Pixel is giving Idola Phantasy Star Saga a 6.5 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Please read the full review at noisypixel.net. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers who work hard to deliver news, reviews, previews, and more. Please subscribe to keep up with all our future content.